Hi everyone, this is Hillary Ellers, and I am bringing you a lesson again today from Lightwork Studio. I hope that you will, I hope you have watched some, and it really will help you if you watch them in order right now. There may be a time when that won't matter at all. So, I'm working without any charge for the work. I'm just asking for donations, so I hope that you'll feel moved to donate. And if you look below the video, you'll see how to donate. There are my addresses that you can send through PayPal or Venmo. I also have one other little point of business, and that is my little doggie who is here with us, I think. I don't see her, but she was here. But anyway, if she comes back in the room, I'm letting her be with me right now. She's very sick, and she may cough. So I hope you'll forgive her if she does. And if it becomes too much of a distraction, we'll stop and move her. Today, I'm bringing a lesson forward that I'm calling The Long Journey Home. And it's really about our leaving our Creator, and then the long, long journey of returning back to our source. And I'm going to review just a few things from the last lesson that will help lead into the lesson today. This journey is called, at least the coming out from the Creator and the returning to the Creator, is called the breath of God. And the little souls that reside in the quiet stillness of God are called monads, and that's M-O-N-A-D, monads. And when they are at rest in the deep, deep divine feminine, really, they are in perfect stillness. There is no sound. They're in perfect silence. And they are also in darkness. And a lot of people associate darkness with something bad. And what I'd like you to know is that darkness is very, very important for the process of germination. For plants, they need, the little seeds usually are underground, and it helps them to start out in the dark. And we're the same way. Isn't that wild? That we started out in the darkness, in the quiet, still part of our Creator. Then, metaphorically speaking, because that's all we can use are metaphors to explain this process. It's such, well, it's a process beyond our understanding, really. And so metaphorically, the Creator breathes out. And when the Creator does that, a whole swarm, and that's what they're called, a swarm, a whole swarm, I have no idea how many in numbers or anything, but a swarm of the monads leave the deep feminine and the still quietness, the darkness, and they are issued out from the Creator, although we never leave the Creator. But they are issued from the deep feminine into the divine masculine. And that means that, metaphorically speaking, when the Creator breathes out, that our souls then go into activity. That movement creates, it's a vibration that is created, and from that vibration, sound happens, color happens, and light. Light. I love light. As you can tell, light works, right? The name of my work I do. So each monad is so exquisitely unique. Each one of us, from the moment we left the stillness and moved into activity, we possessed our own total uniqueness. And at that point, when we come out of the stillness, by beings who are very, very evolved ahead of us, they've come out way ahead of us and have become very evolved, they place each soul in what is called an evolution, and we're going to be studying that. In fact, we just touch on it today, but we're not going to really go into it. It's a great mystery. And I love the evolutions because the evolutions explain a great deal about our makeup and why some of us are so different from others. And so in that uniqueness, these very wise souls place us in an evolution and also place us in a spiritual family. And the spiritual family is a group that we spend an eternity in. It's permanent. We don't, like, you know, reincarnation. We have one life, another life, and there's change. Our personalities change, our appearance changes, but the spiritual family remains intact. And each group, each spiritual family has an overall mission or work. But later we're going to really go into all of that in more detail. So I'm just tantalizing you, right? Because I want you to have some curiosity about it. The monad begins to move down from pure divinity, and that first level of activity, which is referred to as a spiritual level. The monad begins to move down, and it will progressively move further and further into denser and denser vibrations, and it moves through what we call the planes or the dimensions. You probably have heard of that or know something about that already. So in each level, the soul builds, first of all, a body. We build a form to occupy that level. And we can't really operate in the level until we have a form or a body. And it's sort of like when people in spirit want to communicate with the physical dimension, they have a very hard time doing that. To move an object or do something of that nature, slam a door, make a knocking sound, takes a lot of energy on their part. And part of that is because they don't have a physical body anymore. So it's almost impossible for them to communicate with the physical. Now, they're aware of the physical, people in spirit, but they have a problem trying to interact with the physical. So on each level and each dimension, there are certain change points. And these change points will create, it's the difference in, for instance, the spiritual level and then the mental levels. And the phenomena of each of these levels is different. In each of these levels, we come to know a different part of ourselves. And this journey into denseness will eventually help us land in the physical. And as we are going into denser and denser levels on this journey down from the Creator, we call this journey involution. And the way I think of it is we're involving ourselves more and more in life. We're becoming more and more connected to activity, to exploration of ourselves. And but on this downward journey and through all these denser and denser levels, the kind of awareness we build of ourselves is subconscious. It's not fully conscious. So we build a body or form in each level, and the body is made up of the substance of that level. Just like our physical bodies are composed of dirt, earth. Our bodies are part of the physical dimension and made up of the material of the physical. So on each level, we build a body from the substance of that level, and we come to know more and more about ourselves as we're dropping down. And as I said, we really know, though, ourselves on the downward journey. We know ourselves as, in a subconscious way. That's hard to explain. What does that mean, like to know yourself subconsciously? I feel it relates to, in a way, something like intuition, that we sometimes intuit things, but we don't really consciously know them, but we feel them. Or we do have awareness of them, but we're not able, when it's a subconscious awareness, that subconscious awareness affects us, it influences us, but we really don't consciously recognize it. And this is what happens to soul as it's dropping down. It is building a connection, and I'm going to describe precisely what parts of ourselves we're developing a connection to as we drop down. So coming out of the Creator, the very first level that we come into is the spiritual. And here we subconsciously begin to have a sense of our meaning and purpose. The spiritual level is all about growth of the soul. It is all about greater and greater awareness of the self and of the Creator. So we not only develop more and more awareness of ourselves, within the spiritual level, we become aware that we have a purpose. And at this point, we become influenced by our purpose subconsciously. And my belief and my sense is that everyone is on their path, on the path of their destiny. And I feel that because any path you are on is a path you've created, and it's a path that teaches you. And so there are lots of ways to get to the same destination. And so people worry that they're not making the right decisions, or that they've made a mistake, or they're off track, or people feel, I think, that they're off track. But I want to let you know you're really never off track, because you're creating what you experience. And what you experience is teaching you something, or it's giving you a chance to learn. And you can take your time. I mean, there's no time limit. You're not going to fail a test, because the test is really going to turn around and come right back in, and there's always another chance to learn. And so my feeling is what people look at as failure is really preparation for a learning. Sometimes it takes us a while to get it, but that doesn't mean we're off track. So lighten up on yourselves. It's like, you know, we humans can be so relentlessly just hard on ourselves. And I mean, I'm included in this too, you know. And but if I had the power to do one thing to help people, I believe what I would do is I would help people to love themselves, and to really accept their journeys, and to believe in themselves, that they're divine. You are, I am, we are divine beings. We're really pieces of pure divinity in form. We've created form to house our pure divinity. And so after a while, we have been on the spiritual level for a very long time. And in fact, we move through each of these dimensions very, very slowly. There's no way we can really equate it to Earth time. There's probably not enough Earth time to equate it to. Going through the dimensions, I would say, has taken longer than the time we've been on Earth. So time just is irrelevant here. But know that compared to our sense of time, it's unbelievably long. And that's okay. I don't think that the Creator is in any hurry. And I mean, I'm slow though. Oh my God, I'm so slow. Whatever, it's just something about me. I try to go fast sometimes, but usually it takes me quite a while. And so I'm glad that I believe the Creator is not in a hurry. I need that kind of Creator. Once we have learned all we need to subconsciously know about ourselves on a spiritual level, we move on down. See, we're moving denser and into denser and even denser levels. So we move down, pardon me, and to move down, we move into what are the mental levels. And there is a concrete mental level, and then a finer energy that is an abstract mental level. And some people are not very abstract. They're just very concrete. And in the earth, when you meet a person like that, I feel, generally speaking, that person is just very focused on the material plane. That sometimes, and in fact, to me it's shockingly a lot, of people do not believe in any other dimension. And a lot of people do not believe even in life after death. And that makes me sad. In fact, I could almost cry thinking about it right now. A friend of mine recently died, and he did not believe in other dimensions. He thought, this is it, we're here, we die, we go. It's like poof, I guess. I don't know what else they think if they believe there's no life after death. And I used to kid with him, and I'd say, boy, are you going to be surprised? But then again, these are beliefs, right? I mean, I haven't consciously died. I don't really know, but I will say this. I certainly seem to, at times, feel in touch with people on the other side of life. I've had a lot of things happen in my life, and my family is sort of like this. We seem to have a lot of experiences with spirit, people who are on the other side of life. And my father and one of my sons just had all kinds of energy around them that seemed to create sort of phenomena. And my dad, even when he was in his 90s, this was still happening. So he had some kind of very special energy, because it takes quite a bit of energy to create phenomena. And for instance, he lived in a care facility. It wasn't a nursing home exactly. It was really more like a retirement home, and he had special helpers that would come in and help him. So one of his helpers was in the bathroom with him, and when they were in there, my dad, you know, economy minded, he would buy these giant sizes of everything, you know, like body wash in this case. It would be like 2 hands to even lift the thing. Okay, so while my dad and his caregiver were in the bathroom together, my dad's big bottle of body wash went flying across the bathroom, and no one touched it. And, you know, phenomena. And my son used to, I don't think this is happening to him right now, whenever he would walk past a phone, it would fly off the hook. And he wasn't touching it, you know. One of my granddaughters was so cute, because around their house they had a lot of things happen, you know, phenomena happen. And she said, she was pretty young when she said this, she said, that's what's special about our family. And I thought that was so cute, because she thought of it as special, not crazy, right? Or not weird, it was special. And it is special in its own way, it is. So, soul keeps going through these deeper and deeper, denser and denser levels. And after being in the mental level, and here, soul creates an unconscious connection to concrete and abstract thinking, and builds a body there in the mental levels that it can use. Here again, ploop. Deeper, denser, and as soul leaves the mental levels, it enters the emotional levels. And just so you'll know, in some systems, the mental levels are called causal. C-A-U-S-A-L, causal. Coming into the emotional levels, these are generally called the astral levels. And there is also here a lower astral and an upper astral. And so these are levels of feeling and emotion. And I think of it this way. In the lower astral, and remember, emotional, I feel like this is a dimension of unprocessed feelings that it's often associated with the Christian belief in hell. So if you really, really believe you're going to go to hell, because I think you tend to create what you believe, especially you do here in the physical, but even more so on the other side of life. Your consciousness creates much, with much less drag, so to speak, on the other side. So people, but I want you to think of it this way too. You don't have to die to go to hell. I mean, isn't this true? Oh my goodness, sometimes we're in hell. I mean, we're suffering. I think if we think of hell as a place of suffering, you don't have to die to be there. And this is super important. Oh, I hope you'll believe this. There is no place anywhere of eternal punishment. And in fact, beyond that, there's not even any place of punishment at all. So I feel some of the philosophies that teach about eternal suffering, eternal damnation, I'll just tell you, it's just not true. It's not. It doesn't exist. Suffering is really a choice. And I mean, most things would cause, well, like, say, you're a parent and one of your children die. Usually there will be some kind of heartache or suffering associated with that. What if a beloved pet dies? That can be worse than a person for you, really, a lot of times. And who else do we get unconditional love from, but our animals? And boy, I could almost cry about that. I must be teary today because I feel like I could cry about different things we're talking about. So in the emotional levels, then if the lower astral is more or less what people associate with hell, which really it isn't, it's, the upper emotional level, or the upper astral, is associated with the levels of heaven. And my sense is that heaven is what you expect it to be. So whatever your concept is of heaven, that is very likely what you're going to experience after you die. And there is some association, and I think I believe this, but some of this I've been taught, and it's not so much a first-hand experience, so I'm teaching you what I've been taught. I believe it, but I can't swear on the Bible about it, right? Or, if I was on the witness stand, I couldn't say, I know that. I have to say I believe that. And we'll all find out, won't we, in time? Just like my friend who didn't believe in life after death. I'd give anything to see how he reacted. He might have been freaked out that he didn't go poof. Maybe he was just thinking. I mean, in a way, that could be a kind of out, where you don't have to work on yourself. So, coming into heaven, which this is the place most people just gravitate toward after they die, this level, the upper astral. I do believe there is probably a Catholic heaven and a Christian heaven, or even a Baptist heaven, or a Hindu heaven, and I don't even know for sure what the Hindus believe about that, so I shouldn't say that. But, people group together, just like they do here. And people are drawn to each other for the same reasons they're drawn to each other on Earth while they're alive. And when I go there, because sometimes in meditation I will go to the upper astral level, it doesn't seem very different from the Earth to me. It looks like the Earth, only prettier. Like when I've gone to the upper astral level, I've never noticed anything in decay. Like I don't see plant withering, but there are plants, but they're beautiful. The weather, oh my God, it's gorgeous. It's like the ideal day. You'd say, boy, I want every day to be like this. My feeling is that when I meditate, a lot of times I go there, at least for a while, and I may hopefully even go beyond that level to go on into even finer and lighter levels. But when I go there, I often will create a safe place to be. It's sort of the level where I create my safe place. And for me, that's by a certain little a group of trees on the right at the edge of the beach, and then there's the Gulf of Mexico. That's my heaven. I used to live in St. Petersburg, Florida, so that gives you an idea on why that's my level. So as we learn all that we can learn subconsciously about ourselves, we have finished our work in the astral or the emotional levels. We have an unconscious hookup to our emotions. And I think maybe an unconscious hookup might mean you feel emotions, but you have no idea why or what's stimulating them or what they're about. And I mean, a lot of us still have that trouble, don't we, when we're working on it consciously, but particularly unconsciously. I think you have a contact, but it's fuzzy. Or, a lot of people say your subconscious is older than your conscious mind, and it is, because when you're coming out of the Creator, you spend eons of time in your subconscious and developing it first before you develop conscious energy or conscious contact with yourself. So something important happens here in the astral levels. There is something between the lower astral and the upper astral called the Bridge of Maya. M-A-Y-A, and Maya means illusion. The Bridge of Maya is not a real bridge. I mean, you're not going to walk over this wooden bridge or anything. It is, again, a metaphor for change of reality, a change of phenomena, a change of energy. And the difference is that above the Bridge of Maya, so this would mean the upper astral and above, oh, pardon me, There you go. The upper astral and above uh, is all part of what is called reality. Below the bridge of Maya, which would be the lower astral and the etheric, which we haven't talked about yet, and then the physical plane, which you're acquainted with, I believe. I hope you're acquainted with it. So in those levels below the bridge of Maya, things can be different than they are presented to be. For instance, people can con you. People can lie to you. Uh, things can be different than they seem to be. And I remember one time a man conned me. I hate to think of how much money I paid him because I believed I caused him to have a wreck on his motorcycle. He told me, and I just believed him, you know. And I guess you could imagine why I thought that. I cut out into traffic, and I guess I didn't, well, I know I didn't really mean to, but I was aware people were screeching on their brakes, so I knew I had not done the right thing when I pulled out. And this man must have seen me do that, and he must have gotten my tag and got my phone number. And he called me and he gave me this, you know, heartbreaking story that he had wrecked his motorcycle behind me and I had caused it. And so I started paying him, I hate to tell you, oh God, $1,500 a month. Naive. And it's so weird because, you know, I'm psychic, but people can fool me. And I think actors, you know, when actors believe the role they're in, I would believe it because I go on what people are feeling or thinking. And this guy was good at being a con man. My son, the same one that phones jump off the base, his name's Matt. Maybe he won't mind I'm saying that. But he told me, he said, Mom, that man is conning you. And I didn't think so. $1,500 for a while. And then he would come by and I would write him a check. So then one month he didn't come by. And I thought, golly day, how am I supposed to pay him? Because I didn't know what his address was, but I had his phone number, so I called him up. And I was going to say, look, I haven't made the payment to you. And his roommate answered the phone, and I said, where is so-and-so? I don't even remember his name, thank goodness. So his roommate said, oh, he left here. And I said, well, do you know how to get in touch with him? Because I owe him a payment on his motorcycle that he wrecked. And his roommate told me, he's never had a motorcycle. And I went, oh my God. So there's been more than one time I should have listened to my son. He has often told me and warned me about things, you know. So I got hooked, hook, line, and sinker on that one. And but that is in part because this is a level of illusion that people in the physical can misrepresent themselves. And so I got that lesson. I mean, I don't want to say I might never do that again, but I wouldn't do it nearly as easy as I did it back then. Thank goodness. But it did help me learn more about the physical being, full of illusion. And it doesn't make it bad, it's just different. It is represented things here, energies, people, situations, we see them as sometimes different than they really are. Okay, now, once we have learned everything that we need to know about the this level of feeling and emotion, the astral levels, we drop down again into something even denser. And this level is basically usually called the etheric level. And the etheric level is just next to the physical, and it's very close to the physical in vibration. It is a level within this dimension. We unconsciously begin to connect with sensation and vital energy. This includes sexual energy, and a lot of people just can't get this at all, that those energies aren't really anchored in the physical. Isn't that interesting? Because I can give you an example that might help you understand. You know, when you go to the dentist and they numb your mouth, and you know that feeling. You can move your tongue around. You can feel your mouth in a way, but you don't feel pain. And unless you're weird, you don't feel pleasure. So that sort of helps you know that the physical really is that numbness, and all the sensation we experience actually is anchored and originates in this level just above the physical in vibration, the etheric. And it's also not just a level of pain and pleasure or sexuality, but all kinds of sensation. It is also a level of pure vital force or aliveness, or the energy that pumps you up and keeps you going. Your stamina, your vitality, all of this is actually anchored in the etheric. And while you're there, again, you spend a long, long time. You build a form or body, and in this case, your form or body that you build looks and is exactly like your physical. I want to tell you something that happened to me, and it's weird in my opinion. My ex-husband was a dentist, and I guess it's understandable. He did all my dental work. And so I was in his office one day getting some dental work done, and he took x-rays, or his assistant, someone took x-rays. And so he came back in with the x-ray to show me something. At the back of my lower teeth, at the very end, there was a funny picture of a tooth. It didn't look like the other teeth. You could kind of see through it. I mean, it was paler. It didn't leave as much of an imprint on the x-ray and all, but it was totally clear. And it was totally right there in my mouth. But get this, that tooth had been pulled. It was not a physical tooth. And I believe what the x-ray picked up on was the etheric tooth that hadn't all disintegrated yet. And I said to my husband, have you ever seen anything like that before? And he said, no. But he seemed so unexcited about it. You know, if I were him, I would have been running all over the office showing people this x-ray. And I wish now that I had kept that x-ray or asked for it or something. The etheric is like that. I mean, people, you know, people when they have, I forget what it's called, but if they have an arm that they lose or it's amputated or leg or something, one of the problems I have been told that people have in those kinds of situations is a lot of sensation in that missing limb, that it may feel extremely itchy or be really uncomfortable or whatever. And I think what people are feeling is the etheric arm or leg or finger or hand, whatever. So here again, after you spend, I want to say one more thing though about the etheric before we move on. Anyone who has physical sight can see the etheric level. You may not realize you can see it. You may not be aware you can see it, although once in a while it may sneak up on you and you'll see it, but you don't really think about it or you don't really pay much attention to it. And this is what it looks like. It looks a little bit like cigarette smoke, just around a person's body, just outside the parameters of their physical body. And the etheric aura that you can see, it's close enough to physical in vibration, pardon me, so that you can see it, just like the x-ray showed that tooth. Know that one of the ways to see the etheric energy is to look at a person. I don't think I've ever seen it around anything but a person. I've never tried to see it around an animal, so I really don't know if I could or not. I ought to try sometime just to see. But when you're looking at a person, focus in between you and the person. Don't focus directly on them. Pretend there's an object sort of in between you and them, and you're looking at the object, and they're just sort of in the background. And when you do that, I think that puts your eyes a little out of focus for the person. And when your eyes are a little out of focus, the etheric energy will show up. And I said it looks a little bit like cigarette smoke. According to a person's vitality level, you'll see a brightness about that part of the aura, or you'll see it thicker. Like a person who has a lot of vital energy will have a very bright etheric aura, and it will be out from their body further, like someone old like me. I might probably have a pretty skinny etheric aura, and it's not real thick or fat, you know, but someone younger and more vital, they're going to have an etheric aura a little bigger. And a great way to see the etheric aura is when you're at a lecture, church, or whatever, anything where people are gathered, and you're in the crowd. Just relax and sort of gaze out through the crowd, and the more you relax, because you're looking more at the speaker, you can begin to see the etheric energy around people between you and the speaker. And it's really, you know, an interesting way to be aware that that energy is there. One time I was just talking to my dad, and I guess it was just the right lighting, or the wall was just the right color behind him or something, and I just saw his etheric aura all of a sudden. I was very aware of it all of a sudden. Now, one thing I want to mention here is that as you come on into the physical, and this is when you begin to build a conscious awareness of yourself. And your low point is the physical dimension if you are what I call an authentic human. And that won't make any sense to you right now until we talk about the different kinds of beings who come into the earth and take up human bodies. Everybody who's walking around in a human body isn't really a human. Surprise! But a very simple categorizing of beings is that there are 3 types of beings. Now, I'm not going to teach you about them yet, but we will cover them soon. 3 types of beings take up human bodies. Authentic humans, and that means someone from the beginning of their journey, they were destined to be a human, and they went down this track heading toward physicalness to become human. But the other 2 types of beings may never become human if they either don't choose to, or maybe they're assigned here or something. And these beings, first of all, you may be familiar with both of them. The first one I want to say is a space being. And yes, they're real. They are real. And they can be here and be masquerading as a human, and may not have even been born as human. But many space beings come here. It's not unusual, and they will choose to be born into a human body. And when they come in, it's not usually super hard for them, because humans and space beings operate the same way in terms of their energy and how their consciousness hooks up to their body. But as I said, we'll have a lesson about this and go into it more later. So some space beings make a choice. They want to be human. They want to find out, what is it like to be a human? What is it like to have a physical body and live on the earth? And they'll do that. They come in through the regular system. And they hook up to like a little body forming in the mom, or maybe they hook up soon after birth or something. There's certain questions about when spirit actually takes on the physical body. The other type of being that can take up a human body is called a Devic being, and that's an adjective, D-E-V-I-C, Devic. If we talk about a noun, that is D-E-V-A, Deva. And so Devas are very different than humans. Space beings are more like humans. Devas are real different, and Devas have a heck of a time being human and hanging in here in the earth. It's so foreign to them. It's so different energetically than their origin. And Devas work with energy in an entirely different way than humans and space beings do. Devas are very heart-focused, and they process energy more through their heart center. And it is said that they appear to be winged, but what we're really seeing are the arcs of energy moving in and out of their hearts. And those arcs, we can see them as wings. And they appear as wings. And I'm not sure. I've seen angels, and they look like they have wings to me. I've even seen an angel really up close when I was a little girl, and I could see the feathers in the wing, you know, so I don't know if I expected to see that because I thought they had wings or whatever, or who knows, maybe they do have wings, and it's not just energy moving around. You can choose to believe what you want about that. When devas become human, as I said, they don't work out of the head centers like humans and space beings. So humans and space beings know more through intellect and reason. Devas know through feeling and intuition. And they know they're not less intelligent because they're not using their head center that much. But when they become human, guess what? Yep, they have to learn how to use this right here. And they have to get used to just the whole change of frequency. They're used to being in a frequency that's much gentler or easier or kinder, less hard-edged, let's say it that way. What I'd like you to know is that one of these types of beings are not better than the others because they're all in human form in terms of what we're talking about today. They're all in about the same developmental level in terms of consciousness. And let's just say that the space beings and devas come very directly into a human body. Original humans don't. And you may be surprised how original humans get into a human body. They have more longer journey or something. The space beings and devas just go, oh, I mean, I'm exaggerating when I say that. No telling what they each have to go through. But, you know, they say, I want to be human, or their teachers say, you need to be human, or whatever. And those beings just come directly into a human body. This is something, what I'll say, and again, I'm not going to put a lot of focus on it because this, again, is a lesson for another day. When an original human is coming into the physical plane, they change. In fact, all people who are human begin to work upward instead of coming down. The moment you step into really a physical body, you have reached the low point of the journey. In term, low meaning, you know, remember when I said up, down, inside, outside, low, high, doesn't mean anything. It's all just energy and vibration. So it's not about locations and whatever. When any being comes into the physical and takes up physical form of any kind in any kingdom, they have stopped the journey down and they are beginning the journey up. And remember, up and down, I don't know any other word to get the idea across. Uh, on the journey up, it's like the reverse of the journey down. And a being will be physical for a long time. And if they are original humans, they're really physical a long time because they come through the younger kingdoms first. An original human will start their journey into physicalness in the mineral kingdom. And I know that may just blow your circuits, and you may go, I just can't believe that. Hillary, you lost me there. But I do believe it. I think I always believed this, but the teaching, the wisdom teachings say that when any being becomes physical, unless they are Davic or spatial, and remember when I said those types of beings come directly into a human body. They don't have to mess around with the mineral kingdom and the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. Straight in. And that's because in their own system, they have developed the quality of consciousness that they need to be human. And a human can't develop the quality of consciousness they need to be human until they come through these other kingdoms. And part of what happens is, but again, I don't want to get into it too much because it's not our lesson for today, but in each of these kingdoms, the soul is learning different things. And when we have our lesson about it, I'll tell you all the details, all the juicy stuff, right? One of the things, though, that I want you to know that happens is that at each level in each of these dimensions, because this is really all about vibration and frequency. Remember our lesson on that? If you didn't see it, go back and watch it because it will help this to make a lot more sense. So all of this is about frequency and vibration. Each dimension is substance vibrating at a different rate. And that creates the phenomena of the difference between the dimensions, the different vibrations. For instance, and I think I talked about this in our last lesson, or if not, the lesson before, that in the physical world, referring to light that can be seen visibly, light in the physical is measured literally from infrared at the low end of the scale, or the slower low end, and ultraviolet at the high end, and the finer, faster and finer frequencies. I think they're shorter wavelengths, so there's more of them in the same amount of time, and the infrared is slower, so there are less of them. Kind of think if you had a line and you were going to mark it with a colored marker, but you were just going to follow that line and you were making dashes. If you made long dashes, the line wouldn't have as many dashes. If you made little bitty little ones, you'd be going, and you'd have lots of dashes. So vibration works like that. And because there is vibration, guess what happens? There is color. Color. You see, color is just energy vibrating, and there's no difference in red or purple or green, except that energy is vibrating at a different rate. That's the difference. That rate of vibration creates all the phenomena about these dimensions. It creates the difference in a mental level and an emotional level, the rate of vibration. But it also creates color. And one of the ways to associate with these dimensions is through color. If you learn about the colors that align with these different dimensions, you can meditate on the color and it will take your consciousness to that dimension. So let's just quickly go through these, and then we're going to end for today, because you've gotten a whole bunch today to digest. The unmanifested or the high, let's just say pure divinity aligns with clear light, or white light as a little lower frequency. Clear is the highest and white light is next to the highest. Then when you drop down into the spiritual dimension, the color that aligns with that vibratory frequency of the spiritual is on the low end, let's talk about that, violet. On the high end, silver. And it is said that silver is the highest frequency of human consciousness. That in general, although, I mean, people do, I feel that some people can see clear light. They can see it. And certainly a lot of people can see white light. But silver is just said to be the ceiling level for human consciousness. Violet and silver align with the spiritual and the, lower spiritual level and the upper. Okay, what about the mental or the causal or levels? Blue is on the lower end of the mental level or causal level. Indigo is on the higher level. When we study color, indigo is a very interesting color. It doesn't act like the other colors. It's very interesting. All right, and that is the upper mental level. It's the abstract mental, indigo. Blue is the concrete mental. Now when we drop down then even more into the emotional or astral levels, the lower astral is associated with yellow. And I don't want you to think that the lower astral is just all bad. Like we said, this aligns with hell. But it's certainly not all bad. In fact, it's a level you build if you're build toward or move through if you're going up to the upper emotional levels. And yellow, just as a simple color, is very much a color of forward movement and expansion. Yellow, for a lot of people, lifts people's spirit. So it's definitely not bad. No, there's no color that's bad. I know them and I like them all. They're not bad. Now, green is the upper emotional level, green. And it's often associated as the color of desire. It's called often the color of desire. It's funny that money's green. A lot of people are really focused on money, and green motivates. Yeah. The etheric level is orange. And the etheric level is all about beyond sensation and vital energy. It's about a hookup between your physical self and your higher bodies. And orange is, think of orange as the color of things connecting through orange, or they're hooking up through orange. And because of that, orange is a color of communication. It connects two things, and communication does that. When we drop down into the physical, the color of that vibration of physicalness is red. And you know how I said silver is said to be the ceiling level of human consciousness. The basement level is russet, even though silver and russet are not in the prismatic scale of 7 colors. They're, you know, they're different. But silver will help you connect to your higher self. And russet is said to be a color that can help you connect to the nature kingdoms. So you can, if you want to get into, or it's also cause subconscious balance is russet. So you could think of silver as higher self, that superconscious. Russet is more like your low self, your subconscious, your entry into nature. All right, so I hope this has not been overwhelming in terms of information and all of that. This is something that if you can or are willing to get to know it, be familiar with it so that you, I don't want to say memorize it, like go, silver, you know, spiritual, silver, spiritual, you know, I don't want you to do that to memorize it. But what I'd like you to do is to become so familiar with it that you know it. You don't have to look at a piece of paper to know it. You have it right in here, this little great brain. And it's a very sort of foundational understanding so that you can understand energy and how energy works in a very big way. This is one of the key understandings about energy and vibration. I did say that that downward arc is the arc of involution. Don't think I said that upward arc back to the Creator is the evolutional arc. So you begin to evolve once you're physical, if you are an original human. And if you're a deva or a space being, you may have already been evolving before you even came in, you know, to be human. All right, I'm going to end the work, and the information on making a donation is underneath the player. I don't even know what that means. Lucky me, I have some great helpers. Oh, me. So, all right. But the information for paying through PayPal has my email address if you want to send in questions, comments. I'm open. I love questions. Thank you. We'll do a little meditation next, a short guided imagery. Take care. So begin now to allow yourself to relax and do whatever you need to do to help your body to be comfortable. Just pay attention to how your body is feeling, and does it want you to stretch, move about? Maybe you want to stand for a moment. You may need to clear your throat. Whatever you need to do to help your body to be comfortable, give yourself permission now to do that. And begin to allow yourself to relax. Perhaps this is the first time all day that you have taken time to check out how your body is doing. Our bodies are such loyal, good, and faithful servants. And just in this moment, send your body the appreciation you feel for all that it does for you. And as we are focusing now on our bodies, begin to focus on your breathing. Let yourself feel how good it feels to breathe. Allow your breathing to be relaxed. Every incoming breath is bringing a soothing wave of relaxation through your entire body. Every outgoing breath is bringing with it, taking with it, all of the stress, all of the tension of the day. Out and away from you. Every incoming breath is bringing a soothing wave of relaxation through your entire body. Every outgoing breath is carrying with it all of the tension of the day out and away from you. And when you feel you have relaxed as much as you can, breathe deeply and find that you are relaxing even more. From this deeply relaxed place, you are able to touch parts of yourself that may not always be available. And in this moment, imagine that you are observing how large your energy is. And just allow yourself to see the elements, the levels, the dimensions of your own being. Begin to allow yourself to observe your own energy pattern. And allow yourself to see the levels of your own consciousness. Allow yourself to see the largeness, the beauty of all the many levels of your consciousness. As you observe your own energy patterns, Give thanks. As you observe the beauty of your own energy pattern, give thanks. Give thanks for your existence. You can thank your body for all that it does for you, and then thank every level of your being. You can begin now to really move into a deep level of appreciation. As you give thanks to your body for all that it does for you, as you give thanks for your very existence, and as you give thanks, gradually now begin to allow yourself to return. And when you have returned to your body, you can begin to stretch or wiggle. You can when you rub your legs, you can rub your face, you can rub your hands together and find yourself very safely anchored in your physical body once again. You are right here, right now. When you are ready, allow yourself to open your eyes. And so, thank you very much. Take care. Bye now.